Okay, so, long bunch of words here, I'll explain in a second. What you do is you put the prefixes in front of each element. So let's say there were two oxygens. It would be dioxide or bioxide. Okay? If there were three oxygens, you would say trioxide or trichloride for three chlorines. You do that for every single element. You're basically just putting the prefix ahead of the name, with one exception. If the element starts off with only having one, you don't put mono. Let me explain. An example, CO2. CO2 is an example. How would we name this molecule? Well, hopefully it's familiar to you. You've seen this molecule before, or at least heard of it. Let's name it. Now, if you were to name it using the old-fashioned rules as I just told you, it would be, because it's one carbon. One was what? Mono. And there's two oxygens. Two was di. So, correctly named, this is monocarbon dioxide. Now, that sounds really, really long to say. So generally, most of these atoms or molecules, if they start with one, we just cut off the top chunk. Why even bother saying mono? It's like it's redundant. It'd be like saying, hey look, there is one car over there. Or, I guess that's a bad example. I have one twin would be an example, possibly. Well, can you have more than one twin? No, because if you had more than one twin, it wouldn't be a twin. It would be a triplet, or a quadruplet, or a sextuplet, or whatever you think of it. You can only have one twin, or no twin. You got it? All right. It's redundant, basically is what I'm saying. So what they do is just make it simple and say, hey, I'm going to cut off the mono, and I'm going to say, this is carbon dioxide. No, they only do that on certain occasions. Okay? Let's try this one, CO. Now, that's not only the symbol for Colorado, but it's also a molecule. So let's try it. So, how many carbons are there? Well, there's just one. So do we have to write the prefix if it's in the beginning? No. If it's in the beginning, we don't. If there's one. So we can just write carbon. How many oxygens are there? There's one. Now, this time, we do have to write the prefix. Monoxide. You can only cut off the beginning. You can never cut off the other stuff. Let's try this one. How many are there of nitrogen? This is one. Nitrogen. All uppercase for you, just so you can see a little bit different handwriting style, in case this is hard to read. Once again, you have one oxygen, so it's monoxide. Alright? This one, commonly known as water, H2O. But what is the actual scientific name for it? Well, let's figure this out. Two hydrogens. So what you actually call this is dihydrogen. You basically just put the prefix in front of it. Dihydrogen. One oxygen is monoxide. So this is called... Now, you might notice something. When you have mono as a prefix, you don't write monooxide, because that's redundant too. You drop the O and just kind of combine it. Monoxide. Okay? Because it'd be redundant to have two O's in there. So, but if you write two O's to start off with, as you're trying these out, it's okay. But as you get to be more familiar with it, you realize, okay, you don't need the extra O in there. It's monoxide, not monooxide. Okay? Let's try this one, the bottom one. C6H8. Okay? I'll go back to the prefixes in case you need help with that one. C6H8. So how do you start? I'll give you a chance to try it out. Alright? You got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jordan for the win, it's good. Alright, now's your time to try it out. Otherwise hit pause right now and try it out on your own. Come back. Alright, so we're back. The formula was C6H8. How do we name that formula? Using these rules. Okay? Well, what you do is put the prefixes. What's C? It's carbon. Right? Carbon. What prefix do we put ahead of carbon? We'll go to 6. Hexacarbon. Okay. H. Hydrogen will be hydride. Shortened it up. It's not hydroxide. Hydroxide is OH. And you can remember that by saying, oh, hydroxide is OH. No, I'm just kidding. Hydroxide, because it's high for hydrogen, oxide for oxygen, hydroxide, so it's OH. So it's a tricky one. So don't get confused. It's just hydride. Hydride for hydrogen. So hexacarbon, octa, because there's 8 of them, hydride. Okay. So, here's your task. I'm going to put up 3 formulas. 3 different formulas. Your goal is to name them correctly, okay? Once you complete that task and do it right, then you can head into the lab and work on applying this knowledge, okay? So, let's just try, H2P. Na2O. And finally, Fe3. Sorry, give you a hint there. Fe3 screwed that up. FeCl3. Name them. That is your task. Do it correctly and you will pass. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy.